Hey, what is going on? Welcome to the video. Welcome to the channel. My name is Jazz. Got a Mirage video for you guys today. This comes on the heels of the dev stream from last week when they were talking about releasing the new update for Deimos Arcana, supposed to come sometime in November. So they were talking about some new bounties and the new Necramech that's going to be introduced, the Bone Widow. So I'm thinking there's going to be some similar type stuff to what we see in the isolation vaults in the new bounties. Not sure if they're going to introduce a new Necramech fight or what, but either way, since they're introducing the new Necramech, we're probably going to be having to farm Necramechs in one way or the other, because, you know, the way it is now, you go down in those isolation vaults, you kill the Necramechs, you pick up the damaged parts, then you can use those to build the Void Rig. So whether or not they have a new Necramech for us to fight, one way or the other, we're probably going to be fighting Necramechs to try and get parts so we can build the Bone Widow. So I'm going to show you guys this build from Mirage that I've been using to farm the ISO vaults very successfully. You know, I know Octavia is like the thing to use nowadays, and she's pretty good at it. She has a kind of, you know, set it, forget it play style. You can just go invisible, hit her mallet, the enemies all kill themselves, the Necramechs get destroyed. I would kind of argue that Octavia isn't the absolute best for some of the phases of that bounty. Like, for example, when you're doing the toxicity increase part, you're trying to open the door to get into the vault. You know, those little maps are kind of like a multi-leveled, and you're having to jump up and down between the levels. And, you know, the mallet's not very good for that because the enemies don't always run right to the mallet. Sometimes you got to jump up or jump back down to get to the guys that have the little life support modules. And then also in the defense part at the very end of the vault, after you kill the Necramech, where you're defending Lloyd and Otak, you know, unless you get that one room where all 4 defense points are in the same little room, you're still going to be moving around a lot, which means Octavia is going to have to reset her mallet every single time. So, you know, Octavia is fine, but I really like this Mirage build. As you can see in the beginning of the video, I put up some footage of me just destroying the Necramechs. You get just so much crazy damage, even without the damage buff from Eclipse. If you can see in that third Necramech I killed, I did not have the damage buff. I had the darkness buff, and I was still able to basically one-shot that Necramech. And all those Necramech kills were from a tier 3 bounty. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and show you guys the build I've been using. Okay, the first thing you'll notice is I've subsumed Nullstar from Nova. One thing I was noticing before I decided on my helmet ability for this build was that I would kind of get killed. I'd either get sort of burst down or one-shot by the Necramechs. And I still do sometimes, and that's okay, but this gives me a ton of extra survivability. Even with, you know, Guardian and stuff, I was still kind of those enemies in the tier 3 bounties. They do a lot of damage. They kind of scale differently than in the normal missions, I think, and so tankiness was what I was really going for with this build because Mirage has plenty of damage. Actually, in the video, I was not even using Arcane Grace. I think I had Arcane Nullifier on. I was trying to see if it would negate the Nullifier bubbles that the Necramechs project. It does not. So no point in using that. So I just went ahead and threw this on here for some extra survivability. And the reason you see me using this rank 5 blind rage here is because if you look at this Umbral Intensify I have on here, if you have an Umbral Intensify on a build with 2 Umbral mods, you get 55 ability strength. And this blind rage gives me 54. So basically the same thing. But the Blind Rage is way cheaper to use than the Umbral Intensify as far as mod capacity. So when I have a build that I don't mind losing the efficiency on, I'll use this Blind Rage, and it gives me just about the same effect as the Umbral Intensify. Okay. So the name of the game on this build is Duration and Strength. Duration will give me extra particles for my Nullstar. I'm up to 80% damage reduction for this one, and I like to not have to hit my abilities very often, so high duration is good for me. High strength for my clones and for my Eclipse damage reduction and damage buff. All right. Okay, let's take a look at my main damaging weapon here, the Stropha. I'm not really focused on my primary or secondary at all because the Stropha just out damages them by a lot. The Accelerator is really fun on Mirage, though. As a side note, you just become this fast-firing rocket barrage, and there's a lot of explosions, and it does pretty good damage. But yeah, Stropha is going to be my main damaging weapon. Right, I'm going with a radiation build. Some people would argue that you don't need Killing Blow and Amalgam Organ Shatter because there is a limit on how much you can cap heavy wind-up speed. But you'll see if I were to take off the Amalgam Organ Shatter, it says 0.2 to 0.2, but the 0.2 is in red, which leads me to believe there's some rounding going on behind the scenes here, and having both of them on actually does reduce the wind-up time. So I'm going with both of them. Okay, Corrupt Charge, a very, very important mod to have on this build. What it does is it gives you plus 30 initial combo duration, so even when I haven't hit any enemies and I'm walking around, you can see there in the bottom right corner, I have a 2x combo multiplier at all times. And the way this works is normally when I perform a heavy attack, it'll take a big chunk of my combo meter. When I say big chunk, I mean that if I'm at a 12x combo multiplier and I shoot my heavy attack, it'll go down to a 2x combo multiplier. And if I shoot it again, it'll disappear entirely. And I'm shooting heavy attacks all the time. It's pretty much all I'm doing. So without the Corrupt Charge mod, I would never have any combo. So the Corrupt Charge gives me permanent double damage from my combo multiplier. Okay? All right, for my companion, lots of choices you could go with here. Normally, I'd probably be running a Worm Prime because I don't have Prime Sure-Footed on this build currently. I don't have room for it, so I'd usually be running the Worm Prime for the negate so I could avoid knockdowns. But in this case, I want to have maximum tankiness, so I'm running the Panzer Vulpaphyla. And it gives me some extra survivability because of this mod right here, Hunter Recovery. So for 30% of the damage the companion does, I get that health back directly to my health bar. Now, normally this wouldn't be a very big deal because the companion, as everybody knows, doesn't do that much damage by itself. When you put this viral quills on, it counts the damage the spores are doing against the enemies as damage from the companion. So I'm actually getting 30% of all this damage I'm doing to all enemies that currently have the spore proc on them. I can actually demonstrate this real quick. Let's do it with Anaros. It's easier to see because he has more health and no shields. So I'll show this with a no Arcane Grace Anaros. Let's just spawn some enemies in here and I will let them shoot at me. Take some damage. Here comes my Fox. Hits him with the spores. Okay, they all have spores. I'm going to go run down here. You can see my health creeping back up there. Right, that's not Arcane Grace. That's only from the Hunter mod. So I'm just kind of healing without having to do anything. All right. So put that on a frame with Arcane Grace, with Adaptation, with Arcane Guardian, all that stuff, and you're going to have a pretty tanky frame. So that's what I went for with my Mirage. Okay. All right, so, that's basically the build. As far as the defense part of the bounty goes, the solution I have for that is that, when you're following Lloyd and Otak around at the end of the bounty, where Octavia would just be able to throw up her mallet. What I end up doing with Mirage is having an operator equipped with Magus Lockdown. So what I do is just, and I'll put up a clip of this now, what I do is just if I see a group of enemies coming towards the defense target, I dash into them. They all get frozen or put to sleep, and then I can just kill them very, very easily. You can do this with any frame. It's super easy, especially with the Stropha and especially with Mirage's clones. The Stropha's Shockwave has this just gigantic area of effect. When you shoot it, it just blows up the entire screen, basically. So, one dash of Magus Lockdown and one heavy attack, and everything on my screen is just dead. It's great. All right. Okay, guys, so that's basically the build. Give it a try. Let me know what you think. Hopefully you'll have some use for this in the new Deimos Arcana update, which they said should be coming in November, which will be very soon. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.